We told you earlier that we would be in Nebraska before this hour was over, and through the wonders of electronics, here we are in the community of West Point at St. Mary's Church on our special Christmas edition of This Week in Agribusiness with veteran cattleman and longtime cattle industry icon Harry Knobbe here at West Point. We're not too far from your feed yards.
No, we're not. We're just 2 miles out in the country. And so I always describe West Point as 3,500 people plus 1,500 in the community. So they count me in. So that's 5,000 people.
They include you as one of theirs, huh? This is an interesting town. Now, first of all, West Point, I would hasten to point out, is in the eastern part of Nebraska. But how did it get its name? It was the railroad.
It got its name because in the beginning it was the furthest point the train went out of Omaha to West Point, is what it did. And that's, you know, there's 9 West Points in the United States, and most of them I have researched, the train went that far.
Is that right? Interesting. Probably not the military academy, though, right?
No.
As you take a look at this community, what's big here other than agriculture? I mean, clearly agriculture would be first and foremost, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it is agriculture. We have 310,000 on feed in the county, 10,000 cows and calves. But our hospital, our medical facilities, and rest home employs 300 people. So they're the major employer. But on the other hand, you don't want to have one entity of 1,000 people be the major employee. All the cattle industry around and all the things that feed the cattle industry, and that's why we're so solid.
You glossed over those numbers rather quickly there, but I want to come back to the number of cattle in this county. This has to be one of the biggest cattle counties in Nebraska.
Well, it matches some of the other counties with cows and calves. We're 310,000 on feed with 10,000 cows and calves in this row crop area, which it's hard to believe there's that many cows and calves.
I was shocked when you told me that, knowing how much row crop production there is in this part of the world.
So that livestock brings a lot of business to town, from livestock hauling to livestock markets to feed places to all pharmaceutical places. We have 10 veterinarians in town, but they go out from here is where they go out like that. So a lot of people come to town because there's a lot of opportunity here.
How many other communities of this size do you figure could say they have 10 vets in town?
I don't think none. I don't think there'd be any.
We were here quite a few years ago for the Cattlemen's Ball of Nebraska, and that was a neat event. A one-day, well, maybe 2 days, but one weekend event with Orion Samuelson and I were here, and we saw firsthand, in person, the kind of pulling together that this community is known for.
Yeah, we had about 600 people help prepare for us. It took a whole month, and we had 4,500 people at the dinner on that Saturday night, and we raised $1,495,000 for cancer research.
Raising that kind of money. Now, that was the cattle industry from all around the state playing a role in that and pitching in, but this community has done quite a bit on its own, has it not, from funding its own efforts?
We raise approximately $1 million a year between all kinds of things that we call it. The school has a J-Fest thing, $150,000 a year, and so many things. The hospital raises money, and put them all together, we raise about $1 million a year. And then in the last 10 years, we have built probably $10 million worth of structures, like the latest one, Veterans Memorial Park for $1,250,000, and they're all paid for and they're all donated. Now, some of them are donated by local foundations, but they're all pretty well in the community.
It's local people stepping up to the plate to make things happen.
Right.
Then, right? You had a terrible accident a few years ago, and I know they rushed you into Omaha when you badly injured your spine in a farm accident, but most of your medical attention has been right here, has it not, Harry?
Yes, I was in Omaha for 60 days, and Then I came here 2019, the 1st of July. I've been taking rehab ever since. And today was my 525th session.
525. You must have some good therapists.
Oh, great therapists, and it keeps me going. I mean, I know it's going to be all meal. They can't do there's no pills or medicine will get me better, but I can walk 550 feet a day now. In the beginning, I couldn't do 5 feet.
Let us also hasten to point out you stay very active in advising cattlemen and women on their marketings and guiding them along that path. You are still very much engaged in that, aren't you, Harry?
To tell anybody that sees this program, you got to do more than just rehab. Part of rehab is being occupied, your mind, because otherwise what would you do after 1 hour of rehab?
You have a wonderful support team too at home, don't you? And
Yes.
with the people with whom you work
Yeah.
in your enterprise.
Oh yeah, we have 13 people. We have 7 people in the office that help me. They're all commodity brokers, and that really helps. And way back too, there's people watching this program. The NCBA has helped me a lot because my customer base is from them.
We're here in St. Mary's Church at Christmas time. The church is so important to any community, it seems to me, in rural America, but this town is well churched, isn't it? I guess,
Oh, it's
guess
well
you would
churched.
say.
We have 4 Catholic churches in the community and 4 Lutheran churches, and I have belonged to this one since I was 8 years old. Otherwise, before that, it was one of the other ones.
I'm not going to let you go. You stay right there. I have a couple more questions for you as we continue our visit with Nebraska cattleman Harry Knobbe here on this special Christmas edition of This Week in Agribusiness. We'll be right back.